Hello, everyone. It's the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, Rochel Marie Lawson. I am so excited to be here because my guest today is a phenomenal woman. But not only is she phenomenal, she's also fabulous. Now, if you've been listening to me, watching me, following me over the last, 10, 12, no, 14 years, then you know I bring some really heartfelt guests and they give you the juice. So before I even get started, a couple things. If you like the show, subscribe to the show so you can get advanced notification of the show. If you subscribe to the show and you share the show with those that you love and care about, then you're giving them a gift as well. So do that. Also, I like to say this is your time. And if you're driving and you're listening to us on the audio version of the show, fabulous. But if you're not driving and you're somewhere where you can take some time, find your space, as you know, I like to say, get something to write with, get your favorite beverage today. I'm in my Dream Girl cup and I'm drinking just water with a little bit of a grapefruit juice in there. But find a place to sit, get something to write with, pen, piece of paper, light some incense, candles, get your favorite beverage. It could be, depending on where you listen, it could be a glass of wine, glass of water, tea, coffee, whatever it is. And then tell your family to give you a few moments so that you can embrace and engage and absorb the information and the nuggets of gold that my fabulous guest is going to share with us. And we're going to walk you through some things. Okay. So while you're doing that, let me take care of business. I want to thank our first sponsor, Blissful Living for You, at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. Now, here's the thing. We're transitioning into the different seasons and we're moving into the next phase in this year into another season. If you want to stay looking fabulous, fit, and fine, you need to check out Blissful Living for You because they've got some wonderful things to help you stay fabulous, fit, and fine, no matter if you're transitioning from summer to fall to winter, or winter to spring, or spring to summer. You need to check them out because the things they have is not only help you to maintain that fabulousness, but also helps you to really get grounded, balanced, and sometimes help to detoxify all that junk we pick up that we don't mean to pick up, but sometimes we just pick up energetically or in our foods and things of that nature. So check them out. Another thing is you want to check out and stay connected with Blissful Living for You because they have fabulous events, virtual summits, master classes, and live events. And if you are a queen and you know it and you're not afraid to be that bold, unstoppable queen and be unapologetic for it, then you want to check out the events that they have because not only are they for the queens that recognize, I say game recognizes game, it's something in the hood, I don't know, but game recognizes game, but also it's a chance to connect with other bold, unstoppable queens that are out there doing things. You see, one of my favorite thing is when you're in a community and you connect and you have those heartfelt, deep connections, you're able to collaborate and scale whatever it is you want to do. So you want to check out the events that they have so that you can be a part of the events and become a part of the community. Again, Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. The next sponsor is All Day Cable Inc. It is a telecommunications installation company, woman-owned, minority-owned, located in the heart of Silicon Valley. They've been in business since 1990, and they've done some things. They've been through the good, the bad, and the ugly of every economy that we have, but they've continued to thrive and survive, or I should say survive and thrive. And it's been going on 34 years or almost 35 years now. They specialize in voice, data, fiber optic cable installation, all network distribution. So if you're a large, small, or medium-sized company and you want to up-level how you communicate with your customers telecommunication-wise, then you want to get the best company that has shown that they are the best with the sustainability that they've had over the last 34 years. You want to check out alldaycableinc.com. Okay, so now let's get into the goods about the show here. So my guest today is Dr. Stephanie Barnes. And let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Stephanie Barnes. And she's got her crown on today. She representing just like me. Queens recognize queens. And we always help to support each other as we stand on our throne and command it. And I always used to like to use this vision. Naomi Campbell in her 5-inch heels walking down that catwalk and owning it because she knew she is and was the baddest catwalker in the history of high fashion modeling. I'm just throwing that out there. So shout out to Naomi Campbell. Maybe one day she'll listen to my show and I'll be able to get her on so she can tell us how she command that throne back in the day when she was probably one of the only few that looked like her commanding that throne, and she owned it. So let me tell you about Dr. Stephanie Barnes. By day, she's a healthcare innovation attorney at Nixon Gwilt Law. But Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes is always the liberated lawyer, committed to helping high achieving experience a joyful, fulfilled, and meaningful life. You know, life is too short to be unfulfilled. And Dr. Stephanie believes that life is too long to be unfulfilled. Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes is an award-winning author on leadership, gender equality, and women's rights. She is the host of a podcast, Living Life and let me start that over. Living Life in the and the Liberated Lawyer blog. I love that. She was a founding host of Black CEO Morning Show and the podcast, Conversations from the C-Suite. The Girlfriend's Guide to Being a CEO. Girl, let me tell you, she has been featured in Harvard Business Review, Personal Excellence Magazine, and the Huffington Post. And she is an internationally acclaimed speaker, TEDx presenter, and coach. She equips powerful, that means bold, unstoppable women to make powerful decisions to create the life they desire. And that they deserve. Now, Dr. Stephanie received her law degree from Harvard Law School and her PhD in organizational leadership from the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. Now, you know, some of the powerhouses back in the day, really back in the day, but recently, the Obamas went to Harvard Law. And so, you know what I say, I bring it. I ain't playing, I bring it. So welcome to the show, Dr. Stephanie V. Barnes. How you doing, Queen?
I am doing fabulous. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love it. I'm so impressed with you know, all you do and all you've done. And it's always nice to see a very well educated Black woman commanding her throne and being bold and unapologetically for that. And so thank you for everything that you do to uplift us, to keep us moving forward, and to help us to understand that we too can be like you, particularly when we stand and command our throne. Again, like Naomi Campbell walking down that catwalk. So I want to jump into the conversation. So, you know, today, you guys, our topic is living life in the end, getting everything you desire and you deserve. So can you share with the listeners, Dr. Stephanie? And first of all, is it okay if I call you Dr. Stephanie?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So what is living life in the end all about?
Well, you know, it is truly a commitment. It is a commitment. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of thinking. But most importantly, it's a way of living. And it is a way of committing to tapping into our power of choice to create the life we desire and deserve. And ultimately, it is a decision to be intentional and deliberate in creating the life we desire and deserve, and not just accepting whatever we get.
You know what? Two things I already love about you, girl. You talk with your hands just like me. Can't help it. When you're passionate about something, I can't help it. I got to talk with my hands. I love the gold represent. I love the silhouettes in the back, successful and fulfilled woman. I love all of that. But not only that, I love what you're bringing to the forefront, because so many times we women, particularly women of color, and I'm going to say African-American women, we don't understand that it's okay to live the life we desire, the way we want to live our desired life, you know? And so I think it's a message for women that look like you and I, but also a message for women in general that we can do it. Today is the day. It's not the 60s, it's not the 70s, it's not the 80s, it's not the 90s. Today is a different day, and we can do exactly what we want to do and be fulfilled because we're living the life we desire. Now, how did you develop the concept of living life in the end?
Yes. Well, It came about actually back in 2016 or so. I attended the Harvard Celebration of Black Alumni, which is Harvard Law School's Black alumni reunion. It happens every 5 years. And I attended, and there was this breakfast on work-life balance, the ultimate success search. And one of my colleagues, Katrina Campbell, stood up in front of that room full of Black attorneys from all ages, both genders, and talked about the difficulty. She shared with vulnerability just the struggle of balancing her work and career life. And it made me reflect on my own. At the time, I was didn't know it, but I was about 15 days away from my own marriage ending or beginning the process of being separated. But I had been struggling our entire marriage with trying to do it all, trying to be everything. And when she spoke so eloquently, it sparked in me this thought that, you know what, I shouldn't have to choose between either or. I shouldn't have to choose between being a wife or mother or career woman or anything. I should be able to be both. And that thought led me to, I wrote a piece on the Huffington Post, my love-hate relationship with my Harvard Law degree. And that was the first time I articulated this concept, of what began to be this concept of living life in the and. And later on, I guess maybe a year later or so, at that point, I was divorced. My divorce was final, and I had begun my new life here in Atlanta. And I traveled to India, to New Delhi, India, to speak at a women's conference. And I spoke on this concept of living life in the and, which is this, again, commitment to not putting yourself in a box. We don't have to be in a box. We don't have to be one thing or the other. We truly have the ability to be all that we desire when we harness the power of our choices. So it started with hearing my colleagues' heartfelt plea around establishing balance. It connected to my own heart in what I was experiencing, and it transcended to my commitment to really opening the eyes of possibility, if you will, to other women, particularly Black women, about recognizing that we don't have to be in a box unless we get in boxes from Tiffany's. That's a box we can deal with.
Girl.
But we don't need to be in anyone's box.
I love that. As a kid growing up, I was always a little sassy girl. My mouth always got me in trouble.
Oh,
But I was always speaking the truth. And I think a lot of times, because I spoke the truth, it got me in trouble, because on the people receiving it weren't ready to receive it,
right.
especially from a little girl. But you pointed out that, you were a mom, you had a career, and you were doing some other things, and you felt like you couldn't have it all. You had to, you felt like at moments in time that you had to be put in these different boxes. And when you heard that lady speak, you were able to relate to the aspect that I can have it all, and I can do it on my terms. So many times growing up, you heard, you need to do this, that you should do this, and we don't do this, and we don't do that. But I was always like, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. That may not be right for you, but I'm going to do what I want to do, because it's my life. And I don't want to get to be 85. I don't want to be 99, thinking, oh, I wish I would have did this, or I wish I would have not listened to them and put myself in these boxes. And you said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm in the midst of chaos in my life, but I made a decision, and this decision is going to help push me forward. So not only that, am I not only helping myself, but I'm also helping others to stand in their greatness and to be unapologetic for it. And I love that, because I know a woman in your caliber with the education that you have from Harvard, Ivy League, Harvard University. Sometimes we fall into things, you know what I'm trying to say. And I'm not, trying to throw shade on anybody, but we just fall into things. And what we fall into sometimes is not our truth, but we take it because It's how it's presented to us for us to succeed with
Right.
that quote unquote Harvard law degree, right? Or Harvard medical school degree. So I love that. Now, what has been the I want to say this. What has been the most difficult part of your journey when it
Mhm.
came to living life in the end?
Well, that's a very great question because I think it's important for us to realize that even though we can have it all, it does not necessarily come easily. And it's a difficulty that's a difficulty that we ought to embrace because it is easy to go along with the go along, right? It is easy to do what everyone else is doing. It is easy to just do barely enough. It is difficult to decide that you want more, and it is difficult to sometimes push against those voices in your ear, literally or figuratively, that are trying to convince you, girl, why you got to, why do you have to do that? It's easy to just be this way. You have it easy. Why do you want more? And I believe that embracing that difficulty is something that we must do because, if we desire to have it all, we must accept that it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to take risks. We're going to have to think bigger than who we are, than what we've ever done. And we're going to face some resistance. And one of my favorite quotes, if you will, is from Alice Walker's book, The Secret of My Joy. But she talks about that resistance is the secret of joy. And when we are resistant to the way it's always been done, the way everybody's telling us to do it, or just that comfort zone, we can truly find joy. So I have found that difficulty is the part that has been the most difficult in deciding that I want to live life in the end, because it disrupts other people's lives. Because sometimes, well, not sometimes, many times, our joy is a disruption to others. And not for the sake of being obstinate or, casting everyone aside, but there are a lot of people who have a comfort in us being in a box. And now that you've gotten out of the box, well, that's not the way I want you to be. Or now you're going to challenge me to step up my game. So I would
Yeah.
say embracing the difficulty.
Again, wonderful points. It's the whole comfortability thing. I think
Yes.
sometimes we place ourselves in these boxes
Hmm.
because it's comfortable, and
Yes, it's
also
totally.
because it's comfortable for other people, right? And
Mhm.
and I love what you said about the resistance. So I'm a gym rat, and you know that when you go to work out or when you go to do anything, whether it's taking a new class or going to the gym, and you want to get that gain, you come to a point where you're resistant, right?
Mhm.
But when you push through and you're persistent and pushing
Yes.
through that resistance, that's when you get the biggest gain. Like in the gym, when you get to a plateau and you like, okay, I've been doing 20-pound curls, let me get to 30-pound or 25-pound. You get the biggest gain. When you do something and you step outside the box, it's very uncomfortable. But
Mhm.
if you keep pushing forward, you get the biggest gain. And I think a lot of times, sisters, no matter what color they are, they
Mhm.
stop. It becomes a little bit when they feel that
Right.
resistance, right?
Right.
Yeah. What would you say to a sister that um, is at that point where she's feeling a little bit of resistance?
Yeah.
She's thinking about giving up or pulling back. What
Mhm.
would you say to her to propel her forward?
Yes. Well, a quick and easy way I say is don't stop, get it. Because when right, don't stop, get it. Because you're right that so many times when we feel that resistance, we see that as a sign to stop. It's too
Yes.
hard, it's pushing back. But I will say this: when you begin to experience the resistance, girl, you are about to have your breakthrough. And no breakthrough happens without resistance. You literally have to push through and break through whatever that is in front of you. And oftentimes it's just your mindset. And resistance, I believe, gets a bad rap, if you will. because it seems like it's a barrier. No, no, no. Just like your gym analogy, because I'm a bodybuilder, I go to the gym all the time. And I know that if I want to grow, I've got to embrace the resistance. Because if I go to the gym, we'll stick with that analogy. If I go to
Yes.
the gym every day and I lift the 5-pound weights, yeah, I'll get some muscle tone, but my muscles are not going to grow. They're used to that. That's nothing. But if I desire to break through to the next and highest level of myself, I've got to push. So when I feel that resistance, when it feels like it's too hard, that is the time to keep going rather than the time to retreat.
I love it. I love it. That's true. You said something like sometimes we get to that point of resistance and we think, oh, I need to stop. What
Mhm.
am I doing? This is a sign that I don't need to do this. And in actuality, it's a sign that you need to keep moving
Yes,
forward.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And so I love that message. So if y'all listening out there and you're in some type of resistance, personal, financial, business, health and well-being, whatever it is, know that push through it. Even if you got to take a baby, like Mother May I back
Yes.
in the day, Mother May, even if you got to take a baby step, keep
Mhm.
pushing through it because those baby steps will eventually become those big giant steps and you'll
Right.
do leaps and bounds, right?
Right.
I love this. So how can us queens out there commit to living the life or living life in the end? How can we commit to that? Because sometimes change is a little bit difficult, and
Right. Yes. Well, the first thing is to make a decision. Decision is very powerful as a verb and as an action and as a commitment. And I love the word decide because at its root is the word side, which means to kill or cut off. And we have to kill or cut off any thought that we don't deserve to have everything we desire. So that's number one, is to make a choice. And I believe that living life in the and happens in 5 different ways. The first I've alluded to, the first is our beliefs, our mindset. We have to believe that we deserve. The second thing that we have to do is we have to build a board. And you think about a board of directors. The people in our lives are just as influential on the outcomes that we have as we are. And we have to be intentional and deliberate about surrounding ourselves with people who are going to pour into us and nurture us or challenge us because of what they're doing or how they hold us accountable, or we got to cut them jokers off who are siphoning away our joy and our ability to have everything we desire and deserve. The third thing we have to do is tap into our brilliance. And our brilliance is the secret sauce of how we make it happen. And many times we discount our brilliance. We think, oh, that's just the way we do it because it's innate. But we have to evaluate how we make greatness happen, tap into that, and continuously expand it. And then the fourth thing we have to do is we have to get big mad. A lot of times when we face resistance or we don't get what we want, we get a little mad. We get angry, we get our little feelings hurt, we get all in our feelings, and we go home. We take our little toys home and we stop. But we got to be big mad, and that means to be motivated and determined to get everything we desire and deserve, because at the end of that is the fifth thing, which is our beckoning light. There is a bigger purpose than us. There is a why. There is something, someone out there that is waiting for us to show up fully. And when we can see that beckoning light, it gives us something to constantly work towards, work for, and gives us the strength we need to push through. So that's how it's simple yet complex, as I always
oh, I
say.
love it. 5 nuggets of gold right there that you can use immediately to begin to change your life. I love how you say we need to get big mad
Big
because
man.
so often when we get to that point, we want to quit. We
Hmm.
want to quit. And the thing is, get so mad at yourself. I'd say take what Dr. Stephanie said, look at yourself in the mirror. And when you get to that point where you're like in that big mad moment, look at yourself in the mirror, look at those beautiful eyes looking back at you, and see if you can still stay big mad at yourself. That's sister looking back at you. Because in that moment, you will embrace the whole essence of, I need to keep moving forward. And my thing is, sometimes things come upon us on our journey that will make us big mad. But if we
Right.
pull back for a second, look at ourselves in the mirror, we might get an understanding that, okay, I've got this tree that's fallen in my path. I'm a big queen. I'm pissed off. I'm mad because it almost fell on my foot, whatever.
Right.
But I need to figure out how to get around this big mad to get to the other side, because on the other side might be my path to gold, right?
Yeah.
So I
That's right.
love that. I mean, I love those nuggets you shared. And, ladies and gentlemen watching the show, you can incorporate this stuff into your life immediately. And I'll tell you,
Mhm.
we'll share more about how you can connect with Dr. Stephanie. But this is a key in whether you're going to school, whether you're a mom, whether you're a wife, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're professional trying to get to that C-suite. When you get to that big man point, you know you made it. You made
Right.
it. You know you made it, and it's up to you to take that next step forward.
Right.
So be intentional and keep moving forward, and being sure, and embrace that big man. Call it into your life, because when
Yeah.
you get to that point, now that you've heard Dr. Stephanie, you know exactly what to do to push forward.
Mhm.
Now, this is the question I want to get. Why are you encouraging women to
Yeah.
live life in the end? Why is that so important to you in your day and age? You're successful, you're beautiful, you recognize that you are a queen, such as myself, so why is this so important to you?
Yes. It's really simple. I believe we deserve it. I believe we deserve it. And many times we desire something, but we don't have the right motivation, or we don't have the right tools. And I believe that every woman should be successful and fulfilled. By it's not unintentional, because sometimes we are successful but we're not fulfilled, or sometimes
Yeah.
we are just trying to figure that out. And I truly desire for every woman to know that she can be successful and fulfilled. So I'm committed to being a conduit, to being a coach, to being a connector that helps women to see what is possible for themselves.
I love it. See, here's another word that you said: you're committed. You're committed to helping others. And when
Mhm.
you come from your heart and you're willing to serve others, not only will you help them transform, but you help yourself to transform to be even better, right?
Right.
And so I think as queens, we recognize that, but there are a lot of ladies that don't understand that. We know, and I know in
Right.
your life, you've had people that come into your life that are complete takers. They come in
Mhm.
disguise like they're willing to give, but they're only willing to take. And when you
Mhm.
ask them to give, they push back and get angry. And
Right.
so I love what you're sharing, because I think in this day and age, as women, we need to understand some things. We got a big thing getting ready to happen this year, and we need to understand that we need to be committed to us, our cause,
Right.
our rights, our way of living, what we want to do. Men have had it for a while, but it's time for
Mhm.
us women to be committed to women, supporting women.
Right.
Not saying anything other than women supporting women to help us all stand in our
Right.
greatness. Okay, so
Don't lose.
what do women lose when they
Yeah.
don't live life in the end?
Yeah, it's quite simple. We lose the power of our choices. We lose the power of our choices. We lose our hopes and our dreams. Most of all, though, we lose ourselves. And who we show up as is less than the fullness of our beauty and fulfilled selves. And we don't have anything to lose when we help each other. I don't have anything to lose. We are two queens in our own space, in this space, and I don't diminish you nor you diminish me. But when we don't show up fully in our full capacity, we lose ourselves. And not only does the world deserve the fullness of us, we deserve the fullness of us. So On the one hand, we don't have anything to lose, but on the other hand, we have ourselves to lose.
I love it. Again, so many wonderful words that you shared. What I got from that was we could be two queens. I
Mhm.
could be the queen of Charing Point, where I live. You could be the queen of successful field women. But me being a queen doesn't take the light away from you, and you being
Mhm.
a queen doesn't take the light away from me. And when
Yes,
we come together and recognize that we are so much more powerful and we can do so much more good,
yes.
for the essence of the world. And so, oftentimes, and I know you've seen this, particularly in your career, in your profession, oftentimes we get those people that want to throw us shade because one, we have the same credentials or better credentials than them.
Mhm.
We're doing things that they wish they could do, and they shade us. But what I think lacks is an understanding that if you tag on to that sister, you
Mhm.
never know, that sister may help open a door for
Right.
you that was closed to you, and it would never be open for you because you're sitting there like this.
Right.
Oh,
Because you
she
don't get anything with a closed hand. You got to open your hands.
Exactly. And as y'all see, we talk with our hands, so
Yes.
we already know we got our crowns on. We know we two bad queens and we commanding our thrones, and but we're doing it together collectively to bring this powerful message that Dr. Stephanie has for all of us, even me. I take notes. I have my little transcriber thing taking notes because I think every time I come in contact with a beautiful woman that's out there commanding her throne boldly and unapologetically, I always can learn something that helps me to stand in my greatness so that
Right.
when I'm walking down that catwalk, I don't slip and fall.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
now what's your last message that you want to share with the listeners and viewers before we go?
I would say this, your life is a product of your choices. It's
Bam.
that simple yet that complex. Your life is a product of your choices. So you should choose to live life in the end and choose to be successful and fulfilled. The choice is yours.
I love it. There are so many mic drop moments. I'm like, dang, if I had the mic, I'd probably break it. I mean, I'm good thing, because I've been dropping it, it would probably broke. But thank you, Stephanie, Dr. Stephanie. I want to ask you now, if someone's out there listening to us, looking at us, how can they get in contact with you? And of course, her information will be in the show notes, but I want her to share with you how you can get in contact with her after this show if you want to. Hit her up.
Yes, well, I'll make it easy for you. You can just search for Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes. You can go to my website, www.drstephaniedbarnes.com, and that gets you to all of my platforms. And I am Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes on all the major platforms. So I make it easy for you. Make sure you put the D in it, though. It's got to be Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes.
D Barnes.
Yes.
D, like D for
Yeah,
dedicated.
that's
No,
right.
D,
D for
right?
diva.
Determined.
Yeah, deliberate.
Love it. So now, are you speaking anywhere? You got any upcoming events? Anything that you want to share with the audience as well?
Yes, I am in the process of completing registration for an upcoming retreat. Me and one of my business partners are putting on a retreat, Rejuvenate, Rejoice, Renew You. It is committed to helping women jumpstart their greatness, but you can find that information on my website as well.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Dr. Stephanie D. Barnes. It's been a pleasure to have this very insightful and I think really impactful conversation. Hopefully, you all out there listening got those nuggets of gold. And if you didn't, I suggest you listen to the show again because she dropped some stuff in there that I know people have paid thousands of dollars to get. Okay. And you're getting it free. And here's the other thing, you can take those nuggets of gold and begin incorporating them into your life immediately. And then reach out to Dr. Stephanie and let her know, hey, I've listened to you on Blissful Living Podcast, or, I'm interested in learning more about how you can help lift me up as a queen. Right now, I'm feeling like a princess. I want to be, I don't want to be in my kitten heels. I want to be in the 5-inch heels. So you can help me with that. And so thank you so much for your grace, your beauty, your wisdom, sharing the essence with me. And I'm just grateful to have you and be connected to you now moving forward. You got me, girl. I got you. I see you, and I'm stay connected. To all of you listeners out there, thank you so much for listening. Again, please share the show with everyone you love and care about, even those you don't like, because sometimes people we don't like really need to hear this message, because it might help them transform into being a better essence and step into really their greatness and let the light shine on them. So share the show with everyone you love and care about. If you haven't subscribe to it now so you can get the updated information and advanced notifications of the show. I want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. Check them out. And then I want to thank our other sponsor, All Day Cable Inc., the telecom installation company that is premier and I don't want to say world renowned, but definitely renowned on the West Coast for sure. Check them out if you have a need for voice data, fiber optic cabling, or anything that goes with network distribution so that you can make the connection with your customers and clients the right connection the first time. You want to check them out at alldaycableinc.com. And Rochel Marie Lawson here, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. I want to thank you so much for your loyalty, your support, and just being here with us today. I want to wish you peace to your mind, wellness to your body, tranquility to your spirit. Now go out and command your throne like the queen that we know that you are. And even if you doubting it, look at yourself in the mirror and know that you are a queen, and then go out and command your throne. Even if it's just picking up your kids from school, go out and command it. Go out and command it and be the best that you can be. Until next time, goodbye, y'all.